2022 was going to be the most epic year of triathlon ever. And here's why. In 2022, the PTO was here in full swing, and we had so many incredible world-class athletes ready to race the 100K distance. We had 2 Ironman World Championships in St. George and in KONA, Hawaii. It was going to be a year like no other, where Mike Riley in his final year would announce the victors of some of the best matchups the sport has ever seen, with the likes of Javier Gomez, Alistair Brownlee, and Jan Frodeno taking on the Norwegians. And as a fan, it was to be the best year of all time, and I could not wait. However, 2022 kept on disappointing me. It was a year of so much heartbreak, and where so many of my favorite athletes on both the men's and the women's side couldn't catch a break and had so much bad luck. My dream matchups were never going to happen. Okay, obviously I had way too much fun editing that intro, and this year was still one of the most exciting years for triathlon ever. And don't worry, that video's coming up soon. However, I think it was definitely the most heartbreaking as a fan, and as the saying goes, misery loves company, so join me on this reminiscing journey of everything we missed out on this year. In order for me to save some time editing every clip from every injury and mechanical, I'm just going to put a few highlights up and rather discuss some of the major ones of the men's and the women's races. I hope that's okay. And I really hope you get in the comments and let me know what your saddest moments were from the year, so I can have other people sad with me on this rainy day. Let's get started. Truthfully, this video was actually mostly made before the KONA news came out, so I apologize if this really is rubbing salt into the wounds. But I'm actually thankful to Ironman because this video was missing that sucker punch, and this KONA news definitely is that for me, as I hope to make it to KONA with this channel, and like Jan Frodeno, I have my head in my hands wondering what the heck just happened? How can they even do that? But let's take a step in a different direction and let's remember everything else that went wrong this year. For me, in 2022, the biggest upset was the fact that we never saw the Norwegians get challenged by the greatest our sport has ever seen. It was what we all were excited to see after the Norwegian domination had begun. They'd established themselves as the most phenomenal long course athletes in such a short amount of time, and it seemed that their Norwegian method and science-based training was the new way forward. In 2022, we were just waiting to see some of those big names prove them wrong. That didn't end up happening, as none of those athletes such as Javier Gomez, Alistair Brownlee, or Jan Frodeno were able to race them. We had a few brave souls give it a go, but it wasn't the epic showdown we'd all been waiting for. It began at the first Ironman World Championship in St. George, and remember at this time we hadn't had a world champ since 2019, and we were starved of the best racing the best for so long. This race felt like the Olympics for long course. It was just one letdown after another, however, as almost every favorite went out, including Patrick Lange, Javier Gomez, Jan, Alistair Brownlee, and then finally Gustav Iden on the day of the race. However, at this point, I could still sleep at night, as we all thought the showdown would still take place, and what better place to do so than KONA. But throughout the lead up, we were constantly let down. Alistair Brownlee missed out on the sub-7, cramped in Edmonton, and while looking back to his fittest before Hawaii, he picked up a stress fracture in his femur. Javier Gomez was one that I truly missed racing. Remember, this man is a 5-time world champion, Olympic silver medalist, and one of the very few people on earth who could challenge Alistair at short course. He would have thrived at the PTO 100K distance, and under the coaching of Dan Plews like Chelsea Sodaro, we could have expected something great from him. Unfortunately, he developed long COVID, and when he finally got better, he also picked up a stress reaction in his femur that ruled him out of 70.3 Worlds. Then there was Jan Frodeno. This truly is the heartbreaking one for me. The idea of him defending his title against the Norwegian in KONA is just the stuff of fairy tales. Sure, he missed St. George, but who cares as long as we got to see it happen on the Big Island. And it looked like he was on track to do so. Yet another heartbreak came his way while leading Challenge Roth. Looking his best, he pulled again out on the run due to his Achilles. Still, it looked like there was a chance and I could still sleep at night. But then Jan Frodeno announced he would be pulling out of KONA due to a hip injury that had never healed after a bike crash, and it needed surgery. It was over. We just missed out on 2 world championships where the greatest of all time would not only be racing each other, but they wouldn't be racing the best upcoming long-distance triathletes the world has ever seen. A glimmer of slight hope remains in me that this means 2023 is going to be the best year of all time for triathlon, as we might actually get that showdown. But it looks like that's probably not going to happen in KONA, so I'm a little salty about that. We know it will be Jan Frodeno's last year, and then he will be hungrier than ever, and both Alistair and Javier need that world championship win to cap off their insane resumes and perhaps put their names on top of the list for the GOAT status. We just need to make sure the Norwegians will show up for this world championship. Amongst this dilemma, there were many other letdowns on the men's side. Kyle Smith had a virus that never let us see him shine like Jan Frodeno said he would. Braden Curry got sick at KONA, Magnus, Florian, Clement Mignon, and others had their races stunted by 5-minute penalties alongside Sam Long's penalty at 70.3 Worlds. That shook the professional racing world, and it was also rough over on the short course side too. Martin Van Riel and Vincent Louis got injured, Alex E and Johnny Brownlee suffered a crash, with Johnny Brownlee ended up with a broken elbow, and Olympic bronze medalist Henry Schoeman wasn't able to make his comeback after his Tokyo ankle break. And to top it all off, recently we weren't able to see Vincent Louis against Leo Bourget, the recent world champion, go head-to-head at Clash Daytona. Thankfully, with all of this going on, it seems like we're finally turning a new page on the men's side, and that racing should come back better than ever in 2023. On the women's side, we had many moments where we missed out on some epic showdowns too. Lucy Charles Barkley was injured for most of the season, which was terrible for her because she was coming into the best form of her entire life. Taylor Knibb, who is arguably the best female triathlete on the planet right now, got a foot injury after Oceanside and missed out on a lot of important races, and especially on the short course side where she didn't end up being able to challenge for the world title. And then when she did make her comeback, she wasn't able to race Ashley Gentle head-to-head at the 70.3 World Championship, which would have been a spectacular race, but Ashley Gentle decided to stay home and race the Noosa Triathlon before her wedding. And just like the men at St. George, the women also had a letdown too, as we were all hoping to watch Laura Philipp against Daniela Ryf, but that too wasn't to be, as Laura picked up COVID just before heading there and she wasn't able to race. And then in KONA, where we'd hoped we'd get to see her perform, she picked up a 5-minute penalty as well. But it wasn't to matter anyways, as Daniela Ryf had an off day and wasn't able to defend her title like we all thought she would. However, that gave us the great story of Chelsea Sodaro winning the World Championship. And they can't even complain too much, as Kat Matthews, right before heading out to KONA, was struck by a car in Texas, but she's definitely another one that makes 2023 even better to watch, because there is a women's KONA and I can't wait to see her race there, hopefully fitter than ever. Okay, I think I should stop there. I hope you're not completely depressed and crying like I was, because like I said, it feels like triathlon is turning a new leaf coming into 2023, and this sport is going to have a year like no other in my opinion. Stay tuned for that video coming soon. As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more to come, and everything you see on the screen is great ways that you can help support the channel. My name's Travis. I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope to make more fun videos like this coming up in the future, and maybe some top 10 series and awards coming up soon. So thanks, stay tuned to the channel. We'll see ya. Have a good one.